Big data companies can be really scary, especially when people don't know how their information is being used, or if their information really even is being used. So what we do know is that a lot of companies are starting to invest in big data. So the new Vantage Partners Big Data Executive Survey from 2018 found that 97.2% of the firms surveyed said that they were investing in big data. So there are some advantages to big data. First of all, there's better decision making for the companies. The companies can have better and more tailored customer service, and it can even save them financial costs and make their work more efficient. With these advantages, big data can help build a brighter future by making companies more efficient, helping them save costs, and allowing them to give customers a better experience. However, there are some disadvantages. The first and probably the most foremost is the privacy issues that come along with it. A lot of people are concerned about how their data is being used and who it's being given to, and they don't always get that information. Then there's also the issue of cybersecurity, which means that when companies have a lot of very sensitive personal data from millions of people, if that's ever hacked or breached, that can be a really big problem for the company and for all the people whose personal information is getting leaked out. So what tech companies are using big data for is to get a scope of their audience and their customers. The Great Hack is a documentary on Netflix that kind of focuses on how these big data companies might be using our information. So how it's used in the documentary is that this one company, Cambridge Analytica, they claim to have 5,000 points of data on every voter in the 2016 election. They then use that data to focus in on who they classified as a persuadable voter, meaning that this person's opinion can be swayed to vote for the party that the company was representing. So in this case, they were representing the Republican Party and trying to sway voters' opinions to vote for Donald Trump. So they gathered all this information from Facebook, and a lot of the Facebook users didn't give permission for them to have this data and didn't know that they were collecting it. This data was then used against them to purposely persuade them by targeting these persuadable voters and basically bombarding them with articles, news, videos to try to sway their opinion to vote for the Republican Party. So this is an example of how big data can be used against the user, and I think it's really ethically incorrect. A lot of what Cambridge Analytica did was illegal, but even if it wasn't completely illegal, a lot of it is extremely unethical. When people use social media, they want a happy experience. They want to be sharing their pictures, their memories, writing nice messages to friends, and they want to convey their personality because it's their profile. And I think that shouldn't get used against them, especially without their knowledge. As of right now, I think that the future of social media is starting to look more and more like a black mirror instead of a bright mirror, because people are putting so much information online, even if they're not aware that it can be used against them. They're just giving it so willingly. And in the example of the Great Hack, we can see how people can even take data we don't always give them, and don't give them access to, that we might not want people to access. So if we take all the data that we're giving them permission, plus occasionally data that we're not, companies can really, really use that data against us. In this scenario, you can see how that had an impact on the whole country and the whole world, because it may have completely changed the outcome of the election. While this wasn't necessarily the end of the world, if that data gets into the wrong hands, if it gets into the hands of an enemy, it can mean really detrimental things for the United States and for people as a whole.